So we got a brand new 2025 cult horror, folk horror, should I say.
Yes.
But it's also
Cult
got a
folk.
cult in it. And this is about a... Here's what's interesting about this film. So, we never really get a good idea of, like, where, when in time this is. There's some dialogue in this movie that makes it feel like this might be after the fall of man. Almost like post-apocalyptic, but it sure as shit doesn't look post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
It looks like every folk horror film where you got lush green lands and stuff. So it doesn't look like, you know, the world's been annihilated by, you know, famine or like disease or plagues or asteroid or... So I don't know when this is supposed to take place, and I think that's on purpose. I think it's left ambiguous on all of those things. We never really get a good hint. At least I never picked up on one. But anyway, we have this woman and her husband dies. Now this is in the very, very opening. It's literally like basically the opening scene after the narration. Which the narration doesn't give any pinpointing of time or whatever. It's more of a story of like the sun and the moon. And she murders her husband.
Yeah.
That's the opening of the freaking movie. And because of this, she becomes like a pariah to the cult. And they, you know, ostracize her and want nothing to do with her. But, you know, lucky for her, I guess, and not lucky for her, the leader of this cult is dear old dad.
Yeah.
So she has him to protect her, but for how long? And, you know, it also deals with it's kind of like a creature feature, sort of, as well. But, yeah, what'd you think of this one?
You know, I overall liked it. I think it has really good vibes to it for sure. Like, I was really into the aesthetic and the atmosphere. I like the creature feature aspect of it all, and I think that like most people who are fans of folk horror will probably be into this, because I think it definitely has like all of the hallmarks of that. But I don't know, I didn't love it. I was like expecting to love it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there's a lot of elements to it that I quite liked. I thought people's acting was good and everything. I don't know. I wasn't like fully head over heels about it. But I did like it.
I'll be curious on if maybe this is the reason why, because I was really thinking about this movie after, and I was like, you know, this is the type of film I feel like I should love, and I didn't. I liked it like you did. I'm probably at like a 3.5 on Letterboxd. But for me, so here's an issue I had with the film, and I feel like it hurt my experience with it. There's very little character setup. So in the opening of the movie, we don't really know like the relationships between people. There's no real history that we get divulged to us for how characters are connected. There's certain moments where characters have stuff going on where you can tell there's something from the past, but it's really just kind of left for you to figure out.
Yeah.
And I just kept finding myself trying to figure out and piece together the backstories for everybody and how they connect. I was also trying to figure out what time period this was in. I was trying to figure out what this cult was about.
Yeah.
I was also trying to figure out the opening narration about the sun and then how it relates to the monster in the film. And then I was trying to figure out if this monster is supposed to be more metaphorical, or, you know, if it's, you know, it's in her head or it's in someone else's head, or, you know, so I think because I was spending almost the entire film trying to piece together everything. There's so many different elements that I was trying to understand. Like, there's a sex scene between two characters, and we were like, I thought they were this, like, I thought they were brother and sister. And then we were like, wait, no, actually, I thought that they were mom and son.
Yeah, it was...
Right, like, it was just kind of all over, and I was like, who are they again? And then finally, later on, they say what relation they are to each other. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense then, because of how it's set up in the beginning. So there's just a lot of, like, information that's missing that I feel like if it was given to us, I would have had a better time just enjoying the film and not sitting there confused for so much of it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, some of it probably did have to do with, like, being a little unsure about relationships and how that impacted the story. Because, I think overall there's a lot of positives for the film, for sure.
Yeah.
I quite liked the lead actress's performance in particular. I thought she did a really fantastic job, and it just has a great feel to it overall.
It's lower budget.
It is,
and it has a lower budget feel to it. And I know that there's a certain group of people who watch movies, and when a film feels low budget, they're instantly out. So I always want to warn ahead of time that the acting and the movie itself, there's some amateurish qualities that makes it feel low budget here and there.
Yeah.
And whether, how much it takes away from the overall enjoyment of the film, I don't know. But regardless, I think it's noteworthy. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the low budget never bothers me, of
no,
course.
It doesn't me
And
either.
I don't really feel like this feels that low budget, to be honest. But maybe it's just me in particular. Like, I think you're right. There probably are other people that would watch it and instantly get that sense.
Yeah.
But I think because it is, like, kind of folk horror, I don't know, for some reason it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think if you're a big folk horror fan and you don't mind a lower budgeted feel and you don't mind piecing together, like, the world building that's kind of absent,
Right.
I just the more I was sitting through this, just trying to figure it out, maybe on a second viewing, but it's never revealed. And I don't think it's ever meant to be.
No, I don't think so
right?
either. It does, I think, have a bit of ambiguity intentionally.
Right, like in It Follows, you never know what time period you're supposed to be in. And everything's kind of contradicting itself, where it's like, oh, I think this is in, like, the 70s. And then the girl pulls out this, like, Palm Pilot that looks like a seashell.
Right.
And you're like, that's not a piece of technology that exists. Like, what the hell is that thing? And then, so you're just kind of like, where are we? When are we? What's going on?
Right.
And with this, it's like, this could be modern. This could be, like, they're Amish type of people, and they're living out in the wilderness, like maybe the village, and they don't, like, maybe they don't know about the outside world, or, like, but none of that is ever touched upon. We never deal with any artifacts that are of the modern world.
No.
And we also don't see any, like, lack of technology that makes it feel like it's old-timey either.
I feel like there might have been one scene
Is there?
of a shot in the woods where there's, like, a tire.
Oh, well, there you go.
But I could be misremembering.
That could just be a fuck-up.
It could be, but it looked... I don't know.
It's like a Starbucks cup in Game of Thrones.
No, it's like in the shot. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But anyway, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that. If you would have pointed that out, that would have been...
Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know.
But yeah, I don't want that to deter anybody, and I didn't want that to distract me from the enjoyment of the movie, but I couldn't help but feel like it did. Because I was trying to figure it out after. I was sitting there and trying to piece together, like, why didn't I like that more? Like, that felt like something I should like.
Yeah.
It kind of, I mean, if I had to compare it to anything recently, it's The Devil's Bath. Just because of, like... kind of.
Yeah.
Um,
Not as
good.
Not as period piecey.
And
feeling.
no.
Like Devil's Bath is not ambiguous in terms of the time period.
No, but it's like the cult, and
there's
like
some
a
vibes
woman
there.
who has like a lot of depression, and she's dealing with people who are like wanting to assault her because she's not doing what she's supposed to do, and there's a woman who's mad at her for what she said about her husband, and like there's a lot of like similar vibes going on in the movie.
That's fair.
But The Devil's Bath is much better, and it's on Shudder. And if I'm going to recommend either, watch that instead.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go. The Severed Son. Let us know what you think if you watched it, and if you haven't, go check it out.
Yeah.
Let us know. Are we missing something? Is it very obvious? You're going to be like, bro, this is clearly in 2004 because, and I'll be like, you bow to your feet. Like, I had no clue. No, that it's purposefully done. I'm positive on that. It's not meant to be known when this is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I do think you're supposed to know who the characters are in relation to other characters, and I don't think they did a very good job of letting us in on that, because it's supposed to be impactful when this person's with this person, or when that person is talking to this person about something,
right?
And you're like, who are you to them?
Yeah, I agree.
Why does this matter?
Sure. Yeah,
right.
Definitely kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that. Anyway, we're done. Anything more?
No.
Okay.
Bye.